Ni hao. Welcome to this edition of DURKO's Notebook for the 2025 Chinese Grand Prix. For some drivers and teams, it was a weekend to forget about. Anyway, got a lot to talk about, so pull up a pew, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. You wouldn't fucking read about it. So F1's been racing at the Shanghai International Circuit for a number of years, but of course there was a break there for a period of about 4 years where there was no racing at the circuit. And it's challenging in the fact that it's got a very long back straight with a hairpin, but Sector 1 out of Turn 1 into 3 and 4, as it snakes its way down, it's all off camber and it's a bit of a downhill climb, which certainly causes some dramas for the teams because they've got to get the car set up right for that first sector and then to be able to carry through Sectors 2 and 3 to finish the lap. So it's definitely a very different circuit. For free practice 1, it was another weekend to forget for Jack Doohan as his Alpine decided to shut up shop and go home early, which left him out pretty early with absolutely no idea of where he was going around that circuit in that car. He just had to wing it for the rest of the weekend, especially for the sprint race shootout and sprint race itself, then onto the main race with quali. So at least Doohan was able to keep going and didn't bin the car again. Now, the shock for many people was, of course, Hamilton winning his first race, so to speak, being the sprint race with the Scuderia. And it was the first ever sprint race win for Ferrari, and it was taken out by Hamilton, of course. So it goes to show that he's got the right setup for the car for the shorter distance, for what he wants to do it over. And it was unable to be carried through to the race, obviously. But he's getting some comfort with the car, it would seem, but then they obviously changed the complete setup of the car for the race. Now, I've got to say the race overall was, for me, rated between boring to average. It certainly wasn't the most exciting race I've ever watched. But, of course, there was attrition along the way, obviously, with Alonso going out, and then post-race attrition. So the big question over the whole weekend, of course, following the Melbourne debacle for Liam Lawson was the pressure that he's under and the eyes that are on him to stay in that seat after just 2 races. So again, it was effectively another weekend to forget for him because he just couldn't get the setup right, couldn't get the car right. And the question I've got is, I mean, a lot of people saying, look, it's too soon to say he's going to get binned. It's only been 2 races, give the bloke till mid-season or give him 10 races or whatever out of the 24 at least. But the question I've got to ask is, why are both cars, I should say, set up around Max's driving style? It's almost as though they've given Liam Max's T car because it's set up to Max's wants and needs in terms of being a very hard car to drive out of the corners because Max likes a very lively car going to the corner where the tail end's happy as he's coming out of it. But that's Max's style. For all I want a better word and argument, Liam may have a car that wants a softer entry, something that he can throw in and then pull out of the corner once he's got through the apex. So I don't know why, I'm not blaming Red Bull here, but any team, if they've got 2 cars, 2 sets of mechanics, 2 engineers, a chief mechanic, why they can't have car A and B for each driver set up to the way each driver wants the car set up. So why this stupid idea that seems to be going on at Red Bull that both cars are set up for Max seems to be beyond stupid for me. But of course the real threat is for the next race, which is Japan, that they're going to parachute Yuki Tsunoda into that second RBR, into the RB21, even maybe just for that one weekend. Nobody really knows what's going to go on. But if they do, it's without the support of Honda because Honda have clearly walked away from Tsunoda as they go to Aston Martin next year as the engine supplier. So Tsunoda's on his own here. He's swimming to try and breathe through a straw and make sure every race, or make dry land at least every race to make sure that he stays in F1 for as long as he can. But if it is the decision of Red Bull to do it, it's all on them. Sure, Tsunoda's certainly shown great performance, and so has Hadjar, the first 2 races, so to speak. But especially this weekend, Hadjar's really shown what he can do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if they do play swapsies and put Liam Lawson back in the V-Carb and promote Tsunoda up for one race. Or it could be a handful of races with an 8. But the thing is then, Liam Lawson's got to outperform Hadjar in the same car, which there's a good chance he may do, because he says it's an easier car to drive. But then you've got to remember, Helmut Marko's also got his eye on Lindblad, the driver in F2, that he wants to bring up into the Red Bull main teams, or the junior team, the V-Cub, at some stage. So there's a lot of toing and froing going on at Red Bull at the moment as to who's going to do what, but I think Liam Lawson's got to have the car set up for himself. Obviously, post-race big discussion was all around the disqualification of both Scuderias, with Hamilton reckon his skid plate, he was out by $500,000 on that. Obviously, it came down to Leclerc being underweight by about half a kilo, and then Gasly was also disqualified because he was a kilo underweight. So I don't know why in this day and age, for all the years these teams have been participating in the championship, they can't work out. Obviously, the drivers are going to lose weight due to sweat, and the cars are going to go through the weight of fuel, not the litrage. In terms of volume, they go through the weight. Why they can't forecast that the car has to be 800 kilos at the end of the race. Maybe that the fuel turned up too much in both cars, which caused it to be that much underweight. And obviously the change on Hamilton's car after the sprint race, especially with the skid plate, was maybe the reason why his was worn out, that $500,000, that caused him to be disqualified. But I think there's going to be a lot of questions asked back at Maranello, and especially at Alpine, at Enstone, as to where they went wrong in not weighing the cars properly pre-race. So, yeah, interesting weekend. That's China done for another year, and we'll be back in about 2 weeks' time with the Japanese Grand Prix, and we'll wait and see who's sitting in what cars when they turn up for FP1 at Suzuka. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.